Hey everybody, JJ here, back again with another Saturday of Zoom networking. Today's guest speakers are absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
These two young men I happened to meet in Boston in 2022. It was with a group called the Avengers, a networking community that has it was a high dollar group. It was 25,000 for 1 year.
That's right.
That's
That's
right.
a lot.
For us, it was 60.
Oh my
We were
God.
like, oh my God, we have to
Yeah.
pay for 2 tickets.
There's no discounts at all. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no discounts. And there was about 400 or 500 people there that weekend.
Yeah, there was a few hundred people
A
there
couple
for
of
sure.
celebrities. It was pretty
Yeah. So I'm there in this room, and in walk these two guys, these two young men that are dressed like to the T,
amazing.
and like, just nice, colorful outfits. And everybody in the room turns and goes, "Who are those guys?" I'm like,
I wish.
I got to meet these guys, and I did. I went up, I introduced myself, and which is what I call networking with intention. Get out of your comfort zone, go meet people, shake a hand, give your name. Uh, but what really amazed me, because everybody kind of was around these guys and talking to them, and I had to fight my way through the crowd to get up there.
And you guys, the same was for JJ too. Everybody was around JJ, and we also were like, who is he? We need to go talk to him. And I think we were even like walking away for a second. I'm like, Eli, did you get his number? Did you get his Facebook? Did you get his Instagram?
Yeah, and
So
did.
trust me, you are on the same level.
Thank you. But we're really impressed with how nice these guys are, and just kind. And now I consider them very, very good friends. And we're going to be hanging out here in LA.
Can't wait.
I'd rather hang out with them than Paris Hilton, let me tell you. But I'd like to introduce Eli and Mike. You guys want to identify who's who?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, like,
And I'm Mike.
So, I love you guys, man. You guys just
Love you.
awesome.
And
so,
love everybody who's here. Thank you for being here on a Saturday.
Thank you,
This is
guys.
so amazing. Thank you guys all. Bless.
For those that are not yet aware of you, because we're going to be by the time this is done, where in the country are you guys located?
we're in we have a few locations. We're primarily in Rancho Cucamonga, but we have offices in West Hollywood, on the Sunset Strip, and other offices too for some of our other agents and lenders that we for the companies we own.
All over Southern California.
Basically, yeah.
Southern California proper is your market.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, your market's probably all over the country, but you're based in Southern California proper.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
And because we're the CEOs of the Mortgage Guys and Ambiance Realty, yes, we are based in Southern California, but we do loans all over America. So I mean, we've been doing so many loans in different states. We're starting to feel like we're not just California because we're all over, and it's a really amazing feeling to be able to be in other states, but we're here in California doing business. It's amazing. But yes, of course, Southern California is definitely our main.
And California is not an easy market. I mean, whether you're buying, whether you're selling, lenders, mortgage. I mean, there's a lot out here. It's not easy to fight the battle,
Right.
because it's really competitive. We talked a little bit about the other day. Got a chance to know you guys a little bit more, which I absolutely loved. Is real estate something you guys were doing early on in your lives, or I mean, how long have you had the company now? How long have you guys been a business team?
Well, I've been in the mortgage business I started as a real estate agent, and then I went into mortgage. I figured it was a little easier coming from a finance background, but I've been doing this for 22 years now. So it's been, for me, the market's not bad considering my experience, my background. I have a Rolodex of clients, agents, and business and investors that are just kind of nonstop with me. So for me, it's fairly finessed. Go ahead, Mike.
22 years for Mr. Eli, and I've been doing real estate for about 7 years. I also do mortgages as well. And we teamed up basically when I got licensed about 7 years ago. And ever since then, being in real estate and mortgages, we're able to kind of like double end. But in the reality of it is we're not trying to double end. What we're trying to do is have a service where two individuals can help you on the real estate and mortgage side, and you're not having to like run to another office or having to run to another person. The people don't know each other. We've been doing this for 7 years, and it has shown success because of our partnership. Definitely.
For sure.
Well, and I think the thing that really stands out about you guys is your brand.
Thank you.
You guys have a website, you've got social media presence. You're now doing videos. I think you guys are
You can-
either have launched or about to launch your own YouTube channel.
We
So,
actually already have our own YouTube channel. It's already verified and everything. We post content every day, but we actually post our long version videos once every Sunday on our podcast show that we have.
and I'm going to invite you to post all your stuff to my page, all your stuff to my group. Let's
Thank
mark the heck out of you guys. Um, and what is it, before we get into the business aspect, I mean, you guys met socially here in Southern California, became
Right.
friends, and then through that, you just decided, hey, we've got some mutual interests, and why don't we do business together?
We did, and the biggest part is we all have a flaw. Like we always perceive ourselves to be the boss. Like I can control everything if I have everything in my hands. But the problem with that is just like any business, you need a number of people, a good select few that have the same vision, but different aspects of how to run it, so that how to, everybody has to kind of stay in their lane, yet at the end collaborate with their ideas. I'm this person, Eli is this guy that just doesn't want to stop. And then Mike has his own methods of what he brings in, and together we're that difference that makes that 1% mindset that we want, that 1% mindset that we have. And that's the partnership that connected us, because we realized, regardless of him being an agent and me being a lender, we're both of an entrepreneurial mindset. We want to grow, we want to invest, we want to build, we want to create relationships, we want to brand, we want to do everything. Like I think life is too short to just take it for granted and assume that money is just going to pop up in your bank and that people are just going to want to get to know you. So we wake up every day with good intention, but together we're like, wait a minute, you're that yin and I'm that yang. Why not create a business out of that? And it's been nothing but a blessing since we started.
Yeah, I've just watched some of your stuff on social media, and you guys are really, really impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and so your topic is the power of relationships, influencing, and unique real estate financing, and of course, I'm all about networking.
How you
Let me touch into the backside. Pace Morby Sub 2 community is a really big thing right now. They're flying along with creative financing, and Eli, that's kind of your wheelhouse, the financial aspect, isn't it?
It is. So I do. I mean, my branch, my offices, they do standard financing for residential. We definitely do, FHAs, VAs, all that normal stuff. I enjoy it, but it's kind of simple. I've got into the creative financing in the last, at least in the last 5 years, and I understand it very well, because a lot of the situations with investors, people with either big pockets or big ideas, they want to find a solution for whatever the situation might be, because sometimes you have money but not the right particular profile to qualify. And some people don't have money, but they have the profile or experience to put their money where their mouth is. So my biggest thing is to kind of review their resume of experience, their resume of what money they have, and then break it down into something legible to them that makes sense, whether it's terms, whether it's a certain real estate collateral that they're looking for, what kind of financing is available. People don't know unless they ask, and then we provide that feedback. We show this on social media. When we meet people, we explain what we do. They need finance, they need money for them to finance their expenses, to finance whatever they need. They rather use money from a bank to leverage it correctly versus their own cash to keep that cash flow going. So we do everything that it takes to make sure we give that feedback, and then we create a program or a plan, and then we execute on it together.
So one of the things I wanted to ask again is about this guy named Mike. So Mike, Eli's the financial guy. You're the agent. Is that, and you're more into that aspect?
Yes.
Now, both of what you guys do involves relationships. I mean, you guys are mingling at a pretty high level.
Thank you.
And so you're building relationships and getting to know people and them getting to know you. Was this something that was an easy transition, or were you guys always, friendly and like people oriented, or, like I'm pretty extroverted now, but I stuttered as a kid. I was really shy as a kid.
Mhm.
Was it something that always came natural to you, that you had this gift, or did you have to work through to develop each of your respective images?
I think for me, because for my family, we used to have family restaurants, and I started working when I was at the age of 11 or 12. And I would be serving food and I would be getting tips and I would be, working with individuals and learning customer service and learning how to build relationships, learning how to combat even relationships, because sometimes you have really amazing people that are there and treating you right. And one day, you do one thing wrong and the whole plate of food could be thrown across the whole kitchen, and you're like, wow, like literally I thought those people, that relationship, they were all for me. And you learn these things as you go. So it's actually something that I've been learning ever since I've been very young, at the age 11 or 12, and I have just implemented that into my life. And how do I speak with people? How do I accept them as in a relationship? Do you have to watch out for these type of people even if you're in a good relationship with them? So for me, I think I'm blessed to say that I had some of these skills as I was growing up, learning with my family. And then I have 5 brothers, 1 sister. We're all about a year apart, and we're all very business oriented. So it's something I believe that runs in my family, and I'm blessed to have that. Definitely.
Awesome. And Mike, have you always had this? I mean, you guys stand out in the crowd,
Thank you.
and you guys are smooth, you're comfortable. I mean, so many new investors are like, how do I speak in front of a group? How do I get up? What do I say? I hear a lot of new investors say things like, gee, I'm really apprehensive to walk into a RIA meeting because I'm not sure what to say. I'm not sure if I don't have any value, I don't know anything yet, what value do I have? So, I mean, what are your tips and suggestions for people that might have that kind of a standpoint?
I think it's important that everybody has that same standpoint, to be honest. Even really experienced people are always looking for new things that they don't know about. I don't think there's anything to really be embarrassed about. I mean, just asking that question, hey, I don't know about this. Maybe you guys are the right, people that can give me that advice. So we do a lot of public speaking. We do that at some of our events at Driven, some events that we host, some events that we do just for people wanting us to speak. And the biggest part is you have to walk into a room. And that's why, like, you noticed us when we walked into the room, JJ, is you have to walk in with confidence and just be you. I mean, we have a dress style, right? That's just who we are, and our hair and all these crazy things about us. But that's our presentation, right? You don't need that to walk into a room, but the confidence, you walk in like you own the room, like people, you have to walk in with the intention that people want to look at you. You have to walk in with the intention that you own everybody in there, to the point of they're going to want to do business with me, because it's all about that manifestation mindset. You got to believe that it's going to happen, or that already happened, kind of future tense, and realize that that is how you're going to build that. So by that being said, everybody's afraid. No matter how confident you are, inside you're still that little kid hiding behind the sheets, scared to watch that scary movie. You're like, oh my God, what are they going to think about me? Are they going to be cool? But at the end, it doesn't really matter. You kind of have to just shed that skin off and be like, you know what? They like me. They don't like me. It doesn't matter. I'm going to offer my service, see if they like it. But you still have to be like, hey, I'm that guy. I'm going to offer you what I'm all about. And if they say no, hey, no hard feelings. Nice to meet you. We can still be friends. Let's socialize. But my target here, whenever we go to these events, is to build relationships.
Yeah.
And if they want to be friends, no harm done. But we are also looking to build an empire, and that requires building business relationships aside from friends. Because partying comes in time. We don't really we haven't even partied, to be honest. It's been, I think, a long time. But we really are very driven and focused on just building a business. And everybody here, I mean, you guys are all on here. You guys are not partying, so that already tells you a lot about yourself, that you're looking to build something. And that is something that requires, and actually we have a board in our wall that actually Mike put it up, and it's my saying, confidence is key to everything in business.
And we could, and obviously let's also relate to the individuals who are struggling a little bit with this. And just to be very honest, yes, we speak in front of thousands of people. So at one time, I think it was like 3,000 people. And, for me, I truly am shaking in my boots. I mean, I'm walking up to the stage and there is actual sweat falling down my face. We could be speaking in front of 15 people. And right before I go in front of those people, I'm like, my legs are about to go out on me. But, in regards to all of that, I know that we're all adults here, and we're not only adults here, we're all business driven individuals here. And because of that, before I go up, even though I'm sweating, even though my legs are going to go back out on me, it goes back to what you said, Mr. JJ. What am I even doing here?
Mhm.
I'm trying to build relationships. I need to kind of do whatever it takes to make those relationships happen. And if that means I got a chance to stand up in front of a crowd, even though it's one of the most scariest things ever, you never know who's going to see you across the room and say, hey, I need to hit that person up later. You know what I mean? Kind of like, Mr. Justin here, you were saying that, you met some individuals here in this group. If you weren't one of the individuals who have your camera on and you didn't say something, somebody might not have seen you or you see them. And then we lost that opportunity, and again, with us being so business driven, why would we let a deal just fly out the door like that? It's kind of just like looking at the front door and someone's like, I have a deal, and you're sitting there and you're the deal maker and you're just not saying anything. And they're like, okay, I'm leaving then. And so like, it is hard. It is very, very hard. But again, it just goes back to, what are you even doing here for,
And sometimes, like, to add to what Mike said, sometimes the people that want the deals don't look like they don't look like the part. They don't play the part that they want the deals. Those are the people that are the ones that are alone by themselves. That's who you go to. You don't go to the ones that are surrounded by 100 people, because they already are wanted by so many people that, all right, what are the chances of me getting his business? So if you're starting and building, you go to the people that are not surrounded and build the relationships there, because those are the people that might be desiring knowledge, might believe in what you're doing, especially if you have some experience. The moment you have 1, 2, 3 years of experience, you have experience. People want to hear what you got going on. Not everybody shares the same experience. So those are the ones we always plan and strategize to attack. Obviously, yes, we want to meet the big guys and say hello and shake our hands, but the chances of doing business with the Cody Spurbers or the Dan Fleshmans or the people like that are very limited versus, hey, I'm going to do a transaction with Justin or with Edward or Chanel or Rick, just because we're a little bit more tighter of a path. And, so that's one of the biggest things we spend on. He has a lot more potential than I do when it comes down to throwing the net out and bringing people, because I help with keeping them in. Mike always brings them in. That's why I think it's good to partner up with somebody, get somebody who's that other half of you, because you have more control. And then it doesn't look so difficult. You're not really sweating alone. You're sweating together and you're building something. But
exactly.
But that's really what we do, how we help and build our business when it comes to all that.
I think one of the things you said that really hit me was a point about people making themselves known to some extent, like when they have their camera on, and and part of that I call networking with intention. Have your camera up, have your name out there, have your phone number on next to your name on your Zoom call, because that's marketing yourself. Even being on a Zoom call is marketing yourself. If you don't have your camera up, you don't have your name up, you don't have your phone number up, people can't reach out to you. So we do have a question from the audience. I'm going to bring it on out here. Cynthia, where you are on with Eli and Mike. What's your question?
I want to first thank them for their time.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Yeah, they thank us for being here. I want to thank you.
Oh, thank you. I love that.
Appreciate you.
And then I want to ask, which one's Mike?
Me.
Okay.
The crazy one. Just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Mike's a Gemini and I'm a Scorpio, so we're very very
I know what Scorpio's like, because I am too.
Oh, there you go. That's why we're besties.
High five. There you go.
Yeah.
High five. When's your birthday?
November 3rd.
Okay, November 12th.
All right. There you go.
Okay. We're gonna have to celebrate.
But okay, so my question is for each one of you all, okay? It's twofold. When you first started, what did you see or what did you recognize to be your challenge to be where you wanted to be? And then today, looking around, what do you see the challenge to be to individuals that want to launch, their business in real estate?
I have those are very good questions, Cynthia, and I actually have good. Hopefully, I have good answers for you. So, for me, my number one thing, as much as people might not believe this, is I had a hard time going up to people. I had no confidence. I was worried, even though I had experience and I knew what I was doing in my craft. I just was never really the type of guy that would go up to somebody. I was always like going to the events, like these Avenger events. Even I would sit there, even to this day, I would probably sit there and be like, minding my own business. I'm there for the food. I'm there to just learn and write down notes, but I'm not really building relationships because I was that guy. I'm afraid to talk to people. So when I started 20 years ago, 22 years ago, and even to this day, I'm not going to lie, even to this day, sometimes some environments give me the creeps like, oh, there's so many people with wealth and knowledge. I might look like this dude with pink hair. I'm afraid of what they're going to think. Maybe they don't take me serious. And that was the hardest part for me to break because I'm already self-criticizing myself. I'm already making myself so little in comparison to everybody else, when the reality is everybody's equal to you. Maybe they're just different knowledges. There's different intellect there. That's all. That's really the only difference. And today, I don't have that confidence issue. I can walk into the room like JJ said, and we just like spark the room because we have that intention. We walk in believing in that. But today, I think the hardest part for me is knowing that there's a lot of opportunity, knowing how to schedule things, because there's so much going on now in our life that the moment you have momentum, you have to just roll with it. You can't even for a second think that you got it going on, that you are on a roll, because the moment you sit down and take a break, someone else is doing it for you. And then you get back on the boat and your boat's already sinking. It's already sinking while the guy's taking off on the jet skis, going all the way to where you were supposed to go. It's kind of like, you know, those that are investors, you guys know the drill, right? You go to somebody who wants to buy and you don't follow up, you don't nurture it, you don't have it on a CRM. What happens to that deal? When you follow up a week or 2 weeks later, oh, don't worry about it, I'm already working with somebody else. And you're like, oh, well, there goes a big commission, or there goes that relationship. So that's something that has been difficult, but we recently found a way to make it work with hiring a personal assistant that is now on point with getting us on calendars, on making sure our podcast viewers are on, making sure our social media is being posted. Like, we basically hire somebody to get us in line, because we're all a mess. Let's admit, all of us are a little bit of a mess because we are good at one thing. Like, we're masters at it, but we need somebody else to remind us, hey, you're good at this, but you're bad at all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. So they're that replacement.
And so for me, you know, basically, I think when I started, and obviously I don't know if you're starting now or whatnot, but one thing was truly seeing it first, seeing the vision first, being around individuals like JJ or groups like this, because you have to see first that, you know, it's possible. And for me, you know, I actually wasn't looking for it. Luckily, it came to me. You know, I saw a check. I was in medical and I saw the check for a real estate. Maybe it was like a $20,000 check. And for me, when I first started, it was knowing, you know, who you really are. So when I saw that and I was making $18,000 a year and I saw somebody making $20,000 a month or multiple checks like that, then basically I kind of stood there for a moment and said, okay, would I be able to put myself in this position as well to be making $20,000 a month? And when I and I don't know if this is bad or not, but I kind of even compared myself to that individual who was making those funds. And I was like, well, how come I'm, you know, more driven? How come I'm the one getting up early in the morning? How come I'm the one eating healthy and being good and trying to do the best in life? This individual is not even trying, and he's still making $20,000 a month. And with that, it opened up my mind to say, hey, you can do this. And I believed in myself. And then 7 years down the line, where we are now, is basically knowing, then I believed in myself, but now 7 years down the line, I know that I am the secret. So what I always tell everyone is that you are the secret. Yes, there's so many groups. Yes, we also go spend $60,000 on groups and join groups that are free, like JJ's, and all these things that are going on, and people that you can learn from, and so many different advice. But in all reality, it's you who is the secret. And I learned that 7 years later, and knowing that, you know, you make yourself more powerful in whatever business you're in, especially real estate. And, you know, basically knowing, you know, your power, knowing that you can do it, kind of like just speaking with you already, your energy is so grand. You have to make sure you use those energies. And, you know, when it goes back to real estate, I just closed a $30,000, $40,000 commission. It closed in 30 days. Now, it was because we were at an event and there was a table where all the celebrities were at, but then there was another table where there was only two individuals. No one was talking to them. And I was like, hey, Like, you're the secret, why don't you go up and talk to them? I did that. 30 days later, closed the deal, and $35,000 later. But it was because I knew in my heart, hey, like, I don't have to like convince myself like I was 7 years ago that, is this going to work for me? I know I can do better. Now I know that I can. And sometimes when you know that, you go up to that other individual, you make that relationship, you close a deal with not even knowing that you were going to do that. So, what that can go from real estate deals, from, knowing that feeling inside of you when you're looking at those investment properties and you're like, is this the one? Yes, I probably should go with it. And the next time around, you're like, no, I'm not feeling it. It's because you're the secret, And yes, you still do need to learn from others, but just always remember you're the secret.
So Mike, it's a matter of just continually putting yourself out there, continually stepping out of your comfort zone, not afraid to go up and meet people.
Yes.
Just take the opportunity and own it like you've always done it 100 times before.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
But that's a little special the way he put it out there. You are the secret. JJ, you are the secret.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what we all need to find within ourselves, is that confidence.
Yes.
And that belief.
Yes.
And it's gonna sound crazy. You can't love others till you can love yourself first.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have to know really what your value is, what you bring, and believe in yourself. So I think your answer there to Cynthia's question was awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cynthia, did that kind of answer that for you?
Oh, that was off the chain.
Okay, girl. We got another question here. We're going to move into the next question. But Cynthia, thank you as always.
Thank you so much.
On the call, my dear. Justin Kremer, you are on with Eli and Mike. What's your question?
Awesome. Well, first of all, hello. So first of all, thank you so much for your time and for coming in here and meeting with all of us. This is awesome.
Thank you.
For real. So I'm one of these people. I'm on the integrator side, but I'm kind of one of these rare integrators who's also extroverted, and I can talk to people and I can build relationships with people. But I talk to a lot of people, a lot of other integrators who are not so much. In fact, the majority of integrator people I talk to really they hate getting on the phones. They hate, it's like the last thing they want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to give advice like, look, inevitably, eventually you're going to have to get over that fear. You really are. I mean, if you really want to do business, and you're doing this thing, you're going to have to get over that fear. But I would ask you, like, what's the benefit of maybe partnering with somebody like you have Eli, right? Or Eli, you have Mike, right?
Yeah.
That's really
one another.
Like, yeah, you got one another, and one of you maybe is more extroverted than the other, right? And can, like, my partner Mark that's his superpower, is he goes out and wrangles the people. Like, he knows how to, make the relationships. And I mean, I do too, but I can see where somebody who's really not extroverted, it would benefit from partnering. Like, is that something you guys sort of saw in the beginning with each other, or and what would you recommend to someone who's like really, introverted, right?
So I think, thank you. And I'll start off with this, Justin.
We'll let Eli answer this one because he's a little introverted.
I'm actually very introverted. So yeah. I follow that. I know exactly what you mean. I to this day, I'm still always going to remain an introvert. It will never change. There's no way I'm going to walk into the room. And even though JJ says, oh, you guys glow the room, it's him. He's glowing the room. I'm just standing next to him.
Coming from the guy with the pink hair.
Well, I got to do the extra because he's already extra. So he's the secret, right? So the thing is, you have the hardest part is you have to, number one, find that replacement in you. So if he's the guy, you kind of have to weigh out that problem that you have, because for me, if I'm always going to be an introvert, yes, once he brings in and throws the net and catches them, because he's going to talk a million miles per hour, and people are going to have that interest of communicating with Mike, because Mike is just like this energy, this like, oh my God, people are like, how do I not like this guy? And then, oh, hey, by the way, this is Eli, and I'm more of the, hey, what's the purpose here? Are we going to build a business? Are we doing something? What is the goal here? Are we going to be just friends? Like, I'm always an analyst. I analyze everything that I do. And that's what keeps me quiet, because I can't really talk before I think. I'm thinking, and then I talk. By then, he already spoke a whole chapter about everything else that's going on. So by then, now I absorbed enough information about this person. And I'm sure you do the same thing. You're like, I kind of think about it before I say. And the problem we have is the person's gone by the time you're ready to speak.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I missed out the opportunity. So if your friend, what's his name?
His name's Mark.
So if Mark is your business partner, you have to just strengthen that. And one of the best ways that I help myself in making sure that I'm not so afraid of approaching people is, believe it or not, this is the way I did it, is I started doing a lot more social media stuff. So we do a lot of social media. And the reason we do it is because you can get your phone, you can just record yourself, even if you have to put filters and stuff, but at least you start getting more confident about what you look like. And you start posting that on your stories, and people, whether they like it or not, they see it. And that makes you start thinking, all right, what are people thinking about me as an introvert? Because then you're going to feel more confident about what, in that perception, in that arena. So that's one thing that I've done, is gotten more comfortable by knowing that, all right, I look like this guy that's recording himself. And so when I'm in front of people, I shouldn't be as afraid because everybody's already seen me. Yeah. Everybody that has seen me, I don't have to be afraid of what they think, because whether they like you or not, it doesn't really matter. So that's kind of two things. Is I put a lot of energy on him going up there to plan the attack. And then my strategy is, once he brings them in, I'm going to solidify that conversation, because I've done enough. He's spoken enough time that I've already analyzed it down, and now I know what to say.
And so basically, I would say, yes, we did from the very start know that this partnership would be something amazing. I think you feel it inside. I know you probably feel it inside with your partner. And then obviously, you have individuals probably like here and there also saying it as well. Oh, like, your guys' partnership is phenomenal. We love it. So it's like, when you know that, you obviously run with it. But obviously, like you said, there's a little bit of something going on here. There's, introvert, extrovert, just like me and Eli. We took it and we ran with it. But of course, running with it, we did get a little bit lost in it. So I'm glad you're asking this question, because what we were missing, and I think maybe this is something, hopefully it helps you out, is balance. And when I mean balance is basically, I'm an extreme extrovert and he's an extreme introvert. And it works for a very, a good amount of time. It's going to work. You're going to see your deals. The value is so amazing. But then you start forgetting the balance part of, hey, sometimes even though I'm an extrovert, I do need a little assistance sometimes from Mr. Eli to say, hey, I need you to step in. And you have to kind of learn, even though you're an introvert, a little bit how to be an extrovert. So when I need that backup, Eli's there to back me up. And does he have to do that all the time? No. But there also has to come a time also when I need to kind of just zip it, be an introvert, and kind of just let the situation be a little more calm. And yes, it worked for a great time where we were just our people. But then once you start having so many relationships, you have to learn how to work with all these relationships. And sometimes those relationships, that extrovert Mike needs to kind of be a little bit more like Eli in just that time frame. Yeah. And then once you start seeing that your partner that's an introvert is helping you as an extrovert, you take that partner more, you're more valued. They're more of a value to you, because you're like, wow, I just had a really hard day. I'm an extreme extrovert. I've been talking all day. I've closed so many deals. I bring us so many things in. Right now, I just need to breathe. But oh my goodness, we're in a group of 10 people right here on this chat. How am I supposed to not be an extrovert right now? Sometimes your partner needs to step in. And when they do, then you just value them so much more. And then the deals come in so much more. The people start seeing it so much more. They're like, how are you guys able to, bounce off of each other like that? We weren't always able to. And now that we are able to, our deals are just coming in more and more and more, because people are like, well, we would actually like to work with both of you, because he's able to kind of calm the situation and I'm a little extra. But when time comes to be extreme business, sometimes I do need to zip it a little, and then he needs to kind of speak up a little bit.
And so he kind of will step in and say okay, Mike, let me take over, right? In so, not in so many words, right? But
when you create a code, right? Like a little code behind the scenes, all right, when it's time, you already know I give you that little push, and it's always that presentation is important. So like JJ said, we walk in together. We don't walk in separately. Right. So if you're building partnership, you don't go and fend for yourselves. You do it together. So if your friend Mark is going up and creating this strategy and talking to people, you have to be right there next to him the whole time, almost like you're bonded to the hip. Because at the end, if you're building the business, people have to see that as a brand.
It's like two times the chance more that you're gonna maybe make a relationship or a deal or whatever is the case, that you're gonna be at that event. And Eli being an extrovert, sometimes I do you know, we're coming out of the elevator sometimes and I'm like, Eli, I need you to smile right now and I need you to be ready to do this with me.
Nice.
Because, you know, like I know it's not the easiest being an extrovert around a lot of people. So it's like, hey, let's get together. And then there might be a serious, you know, event where it's like, hey, Mike, right now you need to like calm down with the little sparklies and all that. But again, this is all business, you know what I mean? And I want you to kind of like view us as, okay, we do this and we're at events and we're making sure like we're together. We're making sure we're getting that 2 times of return on investment if we're going to do real estate or relationships or whatever. But here's the kicker to all of this. We are still a partner. We have 2 children. We are literally together 24/7. You know, we are the CEOs of the office. I mean, we're in the office all day together. We're waking up at 4 a.m. together, going to sleep together, dealing with the kids together. So imagine at these events, you know, we're kind of like fed up already. But again, when it comes to business, we tune all that out and we're like, okay, we still do have to be together. So
yeah,
right,
you kind of have to, right? You kind of have to, right? Otherwise,
Yeah, it's important to present the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna add something else to it, Justin. So one of our good friends, Paris Hilton, she plays this image when she's behind the scenes and or when she's in front of people. So you kind of have to, when you walk out of that door, you're now this person. You're different. Yeah. You have to know that you can't bring in your personal problems. You can't bring in your inexperience. You can't bring in the problem you had yesterday, or maybe you didn't like what you ate for breakfast, or you missed out on your workout. That negativity, the moment you bring it into the room, it messes with your role, what you're supposed to be at that time. So the thing she does is she creates this impression to people to make it seem like she's this Barbie, right? Like, oh, she's Barbie. But behind the scenes, it's totally different.
Business,
it's business, right?
Sure.
So with the same thing, you have to know how to play your own part, your own image, so people portray something different. But everybody else behind the scenes knows something else, right? Your closest friends, maybe your closest advisors, your business partner. So you have to know when to switch those modes every single time.
I have just one quick last question, because I know we have other people that have questions. The last question I have is for all these relationships. I mean, you know, you start to build this huge network of relationships. How do you kind of keep the ties up between those? Like, if let's say there's a group, because I'm sure there's a large number, maybe you're not doing business with every single day, right? So how do you keep that communication channel up? Like, hey, you know, I know birthdays and stuff like that, you reach out, you know, you kind of keep that up in your system, right? And so you know when certain things are happening and you can send out communications or whatever. I'm sure you have someone that handles that for you now. My question is really in the beginning, what did that look like for you guys? Like, as you were building your network and like keeping those ties up, like what did that look like?
Yeah. And honestly, it's as simple as this. And I know it may sound very crazy, but just when you're first starting off, it's so crazy, but the power of a piece of paper and a pen, what it can do. I mean, I literally wrote the relationships that I want in the beginning. You know, I'm like, okay, Eli, we're going to be having lunch with Paris Hilton and her husband. You know, we're going to be meeting with the assistant. You know, we have JJ at a picnic. We have, you know, all these different things that we're doing. And I just literally got pen and paper and wrote it down, put it in my computer bag. And I swear, literally, you know, we've been building a lot of relationships recently. And I swear to you, you know, that piece of paper I wrote maybe like 6 months ago, there was about 20 relationships on there. Every single one has been checked off. And again, I don't like cross out the name, because here's the thing, you cannot forget about them. So again, you know, knowing that I have that list, in my mind, I always go back to that list and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's been almost a year since I've seen, you know, Mr. JJ, and, you know, he had that picnic about 8 months ago. I'm going to literally write it down again right here. When's the next time I can see him? And just literally, you know, I think the word is care, because I know this world is so crazy nowadays. And I know everything happened with COVID and everything. Everyone's just kind of, you know, it's that care is not as powerful as it used to be. But when you just care a little bit, like, man, I text so many people sometimes, hey, are you available for like tea? And they're just like, wow, I haven't had somebody write me this in months. And I'm like, oh my God, like,
Forever.
You know, and
Forever,
so, yeah. So just having a simple list to start off, I promise you, like 2 months down the line, you're going to be like, I can't believe I've already had lunch with 7 to 10 people. You're like tripped out. And I even have to sometimes go back to Eli and be like, yeah, you see my list? I told you we were going to make this happen. And he's like, okay, you were right.
So what?
Because it's just a piece of paper and pen. So he's like, okay, like, yeah. But then when I come back and show him, I'm like, we literally had lunch with every single one of these people. We're backstage with Paris Hilton. Her
That's awesome.
husband's writing us. Like, it's because we just, it just all started off with a thought, a pen, and a paper. I promise. And I know that sounds like not the best advice, but that literally works for me.
Oh,
So
I love that. I love that.
I was going to jump in, guys, and just say that is awesome, because that's what I call networking with intention.
Yeah.
thank you.
And follow up is so huge in what we do
Yes.
that we can't count on just transaction by transaction, but to make ourselves visible.
Right.
Part of that's using social media, because as Pace says, when you start putting videos out there that, like Eli was talking about, those videos, float, whether they're through stories, whether they're through reels, they rotate for a month out there in social media.
Yes.
And those become our clones. And so it's just so important to do that.
I love that.
Hey guys, let's move on. Take one more question, then we jump to the breakout rooms.
Thanks, Justin.
Marquise, how are you, my friend? You are on with Eli and Mike. What's your question?
Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Hey, what's up,
Mr.
Marcus?
Jackson.
How are you?
Hey, so I had a question. Actually, Justin kind of went over it a little bit, kind of like one of my questions, but I had another question. So I'm actually a wholesaler out of California, Menifee, California, and I actually been wholesaling for 3 years now. And I've never closed a deal yet. But I wanted to know.
And we're right here in Riverside County, so like we're your neighbors.
Yeah, I know. Once I found that, I'm like, yo, I want to connect with these guys. So
yes, come down to our office. Come down.
Let's do it. So what I wanted to know is this: like, what were you guys' motivation before you started to, have these dinners and these lunch dates and like closing like these big checks? You know how you go through like those rough seasons before you actually get to see the other side of the grass. What was your motivation to keep going in those days where it basically didn't look so promising? Because where I'm at right now, I've been, like I said, been wholesaling for a while, but I haven't closed my first deal. But I've been working more since talking to JJ. Actually, he's been actually motivating me more to connect with people and get out there. I was more like an anti-social type of person. Like, I didn't talk to people, but I wanted to like reach out, but I was always like nervous. But now that I'm reaching out, I want to be able to connect with people that has like the same drive that I have, the consistency. So I want to know, like, what kept you guys going? What kept you guys consistent at pushing to the point where you guys are, here today?
Actually, I have a real estate agent that used to work with me, kind of has the same story. He was doing wholesale for about 2 years. He was literally living in Hawaii, sleeping on a floor. He lived in Paris,
Wow.
next to Menifee, and he was living in a trailer that had a hole in the bottom of the trailer. That's how bad it was, and sleeping on that floor of the trailer. And he was doing wholesaling for about 2 years. He kind of came to me and asked me the same question. I believe what it is especially, I can tell that, like you said, you've been a little bit more not so social. You actually, I believe, and I may be wrong, but I believe that, finding the right people to guide you, to be there for you, to show you, hey, you can do this, can change your life. I mean, he was literally sleeping on a floor of a trailer with a hole in it. And he comes to me, tells me, hey, I've literally closed 3 wholesale deals, but I've only made about $1,000. And I'm like, hey, like literally, in the last 3 months, I've closed like 7 transactions, and I'm putting in the same amount of work that you are putting in as a wholesaler. And sometimes you might even be putting in more work than me. Mm-hmm. And I've probably made about, like $100,000. So, I think what you need to do is you need to make sure that you find people that are going to believe in you, like you believe in yourself. Just because you're not like a really big relationship based person doesn't mean that you don't believe in yourself. And you have to believe in yourself. But I think the key is you also have to be able to believe in other individuals, kind of like you believed in Mr. JJ. He told you some stuff. You're already taking it on. You're already like, okay, I need to be seen a little bit more. I told this individual, what he needed to do, like how to, basically kind of like mentoring him in a way, and it could be as simple as just calling somebody, hey, how is the market this week? And then you're like, okay, you're making that relationship with him. I mean, within 8 months of him knowing me, he literally was crying and he showed me his bank account and he had about $110,000 in his bank.
Wow.
And just like, Mike, literally 8 months ago, I was sleeping on the floor in Paris, California, which is a desert. If anybody doesn't know where that is, it's a desert. Literally nothing for miles. And not only that, he wasn't in a home, he was in a trailer. And 8 months later, he's over $100,000 in a bank account because he surrounded himself with the right people. The people that he was around before were literally just not caring. And again, it goes back to what we were talking about before. The word care this year, I've been using it so much because I feel like people have lost that. And I'm not going to lose that. And you don't lose that. And go to people like JJ who have not lost that either, because you take those tiny little advices and you'll be amazed on where you'll be in 8 months or less.
And you know, one thing that can help you, Marquise, because
we're here for you. I'm so sorry. We're here for you too, by the way. Like literally,
okay,
come to our office. I got you. You need us. We're here. Like just letting you know.
So to add to, because I've done this for 22 years, so I've hit 2 pitfalls in my life. I've failed heavily twice, and that happens to the best, right? I've read a lot of books. I've seen a lot of podcasts. Most of the billionaires and multimillionaires in the industry, people that have made it and have not made it, is because you're going to hit that poverty level. You're going to become whether wealthy and then mega poor. It's weird to see wealthy or mega poor. It's like you're not just poor, you're like mega poor. It's sad.
Yeah,
like,
that's literally where I'm at now. Literally,
no, I feel you, because when we met, we did great, and then we also hit a failure. We were ordering crunchy tacos at Jack in the Box for like probably a couple of months,
even though we still do
randomly, but at least it's selective, right? Back then it wasn't a choice. But there's 2 things I recommend. One is more mental and one's in action. So one action I would recommend is get a mentor. Get somebody who's going to teach you, educate you, to break it down, to show you a different, hey, like there's light at the end of the tunnel, because it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And this is to teach you how to spread your wings, how to become Marquise the superior, right? Like Marquise the Superman, so that you become this great grand super being you're supposed to be. Because in life, there's a limited supply of people that actually do care, like Mike said. There's not many people that care about you at all. Sometimes you don't even care about yourself. You're like, oh, look at me. I'm not eating right. I'm not working out. I don't even care. I'm just going to get through life. And then at the end, you're your own victim. You're victimizing yourself. So sometimes what helped us when we started, because we switched from different lenders and brokerages and real estate agencies before, we found a mentor. We found somebody that can tell us, hey, you're better than this. These are the steps that you need to take. And again, that's a process. You have to be a sponge too and accept that, hey, I messed up, show me the way. And then eventually you upgrade and you become this better version. So that's the more aspect of activity, right? The action you have to take. The more mental side is you have to change that status quo of who you are. Sometimes, we're Mexican. We have this quo of being hard workers, but also living a poverty-driven type of life. You work hard, but there's not a lot of intelligence or education, and that's that status quo. You have to just know how to break through it and realize, I'm going to defy the odds. I'm going to be better than this, and I don't care what people are going to say or whether they say something good or bad. I'm going to do me, but I'm going to get somebody to mentor me, to show me how to break free from these chains, and then bam, you hit people where they didn't even expect. And now you are this person that now people look up to.
And having the right circle is so amazing, because just to close this question off, is that like even in the last month or two, we have 2 individuals that are working in our office. One's a real estate agent, one is a lender. And both of them have only been in the United States for 6 years each. One is from Mexico, one is from Pakistan. Both of them are in their 20s. Each one of them have at least already closed 5 or 6 deals. And they've only been in the States for 6 years. They learned English as they've been here. They were able to make whatever relationships they did right here in California. Both of them have closed about 5 deals, each one of them over about $10,000. And I always, call them out, because I'm like, wow, like literally they came over here to the Americas. They found the right circle. And just like that, they're ready in business. And they didn't even know English when they came here. So I always use them as examples, like, hey, like we can do this. You know what I mean? You just have to be around the right circles, I believe. And you're already in the right circle just being here at Mr. JJ.
Yeah. Right. Marquise, I want to throw in on that. People help people they like. If they don't know you, they can't like you. It's really, really important to use and leverage social media, make yourself visible, do short reels, do short videos, like Eli was saying. Put yourself out there. Stop by some local offices, even if you don't know the people, but definitely stop by Mike and Eli's office. But to build those relationships, you don't market your business, you market yourself, so that people know who you are, because people help people that they know everyone's wanting to ask a question, but if they know you, if you make a point to build relationships, you're now going to stand out amongst everybody else. So follow with me. I will be your social media mentor. Follow up with the guys. I'll probably be more of your technical functional mentors, you know, but it's all about the people we surround ourselves with, because if we're not building our circle, if we're not building our network, and I say it all the time, build your network before you need it. If you're not building it, you don't have a network. Your network is your net worth. If you do not have a network, if you do not have people, and we need to improve. I mean, I still need to improve about how do I build relationships? How do I approach people? How do I talk to people? How do I come on to people? How do I come up to people? You know, this is nothing. None of this comes easily for anybody. Nobody's born knowing how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But with this group, I'm not going to tell you all the time, brother, post a video every other day, if not every day, to the group. Hi, I'm Marquise Jackson again. Hey, this is Marquise again. Hey, this is MJ. You know, and just get used to that flow. And then pretty soon you're going to be as comfortable in front of the camera as Eli and Mike, or as am I.
Yeah.
The hardest part is getting over that step. So why don't you and I please follow up after this call? Contact me tomorrow, contact me at the beginning of next week. Let's get you some one-on-one Zooms. Let's get you going. And
I appreciate it.
As we end this call, the guys are going to share their contact info, how to follow up with them, whether it be MySpace, TikTok, you know, whatever it happens to be. Of course, people don't use MySpace anymore, but definitely follow up with all three of us. We're all of us would love to help you out, Marquise.
Loves.
I really appreciate you guys.
You're welcome.
Well, Marquise, thank you for your question.
Yes,
Mike and Eli and Mike, we're going to move along here. Wrap this up. But if people want to get a hold of you, is it your MySpace page? Is it a postcard? What's the best way for people to reach you?
I'm definitely told for MySpace.
I mean, I had it.
He had it. He's younger than me, so
no. But yes, definitely. So we are very active on Instagram, which is very simple. It's Eli and Mike. Literally Eli and Mike.
Literally.
And so you also could even text us anytime. This is just my number. If you guys, want to get in contact with us, I always start group chats when somebody does reach out to us, because again, it's all about relationships. And when people are reaching out to Eli and Mike, you kind of get both of us, but yes, mostly Instagram at Eli and Mike, TikTok at Eli and Mike, Twitter at Eli and Mike, Facebook at Eli and Mike. One thing we learned is, making sure you have all the same pictures and same name on each platform. So we're trying to make it easy for you all. But yes, you guys can find us. And we're really, really good at getting back to you in the DMs, because that's one thing that we learned from, I think you were there with us, Mr. JJ, when Gary Vee was telling us that in the very beginning, Mr. Gary Vee, when he still has a social media, but he would write back everybody himself. And he's like, it takes a couple of weeks, but I would do it. So, obviously, like we said, when somebody teaches you something like Mr. JJ, you implement it, and we have done that. So, if you DM us, we are really good about getting back to you, especially with two people. We're able to really help you out there if you need the help, or
Yeah, and just follow us, Eli and Mike, on Instagram, and we'll follow you back. And anything you guys ever need, we're an open book. Everything on Instagram is real. We do our podcast show with celebrities, influencers, with everybody, because we want to create our brand and make it stronger. It's just who we are, and there's no second chances in life. So you got to do it. You got to do it.
We're also, not just real estate agent and mortgage and CEOs. We're also fathers. We have two children who we have 15 and 19 years old. They are actually full custody to both of us. So we're fathers. We're also investors. We have about 4 or 5 investment properties here in California. So we are also in the investing sector, the real estate, mortgages, and then just, regular people as well. So, we love McDonald's.
There you go.
He likes McDonald's.
You guys are great. So guys, if anyone's watching this on YouTube right now, please like the video. Please like the presentation for Eli and Mike. Please put something in the comments. If you want to follow up with me, it's jjazizian.com. Please click the register now button to register for the networking group. Every week we have Facebook 101 before the call. We have the breakout rooms after the call for live networking. If you're on the call right now and have your hands raised, a couple of you do, I'm going to put you in the breakout room. Well, actually, we're going to put you guys in your own room. If we can get you guys, we'll talk about that. but yeah, look for more videos, look for more presentations coming up on Flip Side Up with JJ on my YouTube. Please join the group. Reach out to me. My number is 818-683-4047. But get out there and build your relationships, build your network. Your network is your net worth. And again, don't chase the deal, chase relationship. Network with intention. I got a whole bunch of these things, but we're just glad to have you guys with us today. And Eli and Mike, I guess we'll just say bon voyage right now to everybody. We'll jump off to the breakout rooms.
Loves it. Thank you all. We're so blessed. Thank you, Mr. JJ. Can't wait to see you at the picnic. It's going to be so amazing.